Hi, this is Jason Laux, the 7-Day Sale Guy, and in this video I'm going to share with you how you can sell houses fast in this economy. And for the 9 other videos, a free live teleseminar training that we do on a regular basis, and a free training on CD, just visit my website at www.7dayprofitmachine.com. Let me give you a perfect example. Here's one of the rules that we know is a joke that other people play by, okay? Here's what we know that they don't know. Everybody thinks that supply and demand forces the market price on us, right? That's not true. Supply and demand is a lie. Here's why. Supply and demand is a term economists, and I don't even like the word economist because it sort of implies that there's a scarcity, that there's very little. And the truth is, there's unlimited abundance in this world, okay? There's an unlimited amount of money as long as we can devise a system for turning an empty asset into a paying asset, okay? So supply and demand is a lie because it's a thing that economists use that they apply when the thing being supplied and demanded is a commodity, where each and every item or unit is the same as all others and is presented, positioned, and made available in the same way. Look, if you want to buy a ton of steel, okay, and it's, say, Krupp 55 high carbon tool steel, or Krupp 55, a ton of Krupp 55 high carbon tool steel from somebody else, or a ton of Krupp 55 high carbon tool steel from somebody else. If it's the same exact thing and it's the same amount of that thing, obviously the lowest price wins, okay? And that's how most people try to sell houses. But in real life, everything has differences, okay? Think about it like this. Some people think milk is a commodity. But you could walk into the grocery store right now and you'd see 5 different kinds of milk on the shelves and all different prices. One gallon of milk might sell for $3. Another gallon of milk might sell for $3 for a half gallon because it's organic. Another gallon of milk might sell for $4 because even though it's not organic, it's the premium brand, okay? So there's differences. Supply and demand is a lie, okay? Here's an example of what I call a Jedi mind trick, and I'm going to give you a disclaimer right now. No one involved with that movie, and if you don't know what movie, don't worry about it, but no one involved with that movie has anything to do with this. I call these my Jedi mind tricks, and if anybody sues me, I guess I'll change this video because I don't mean to imply that they support or endorse what I'm saying here. I'm just saying this is the kind of thing like it's the little influencing things that we use to convince people to let us show them the best way for them to buy our house from us, okay? Here's a perfect example. And before I get into this, I want to talk about that for just a second. Some people think what I'm about to show you is somehow unethical or tricking people. And that's not what I'm talking about at all. What I'm about to talk about is as simple as if you walk into one house and you really love it, and you walk into another house and you don't really love it, even though they might be the same bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage, you might not be conscious of why you like one better than the other. You just know that you like it better. Well, for those of us who are in the game, our business is making sure that when someone walks into our house, they like it better, okay? So I've spent 4 or 5 years now just on the handful of tricks that I know that can convince somebody that they really ought to buy my house instead of the neighbor's house, okay? So I'm not suggesting that you can use mind control and, I call it a Jedi mind trick as a joke, but it really is an influencer just to influence them to make a decision in our favor, okay? But obviously if they don't want your house, 90% of the people are not going to buy your house, okay? That's just the reality of it. So we're just giving our house the best chance to be the one they do like. And I'll tell you that once you use this, you'll have 2 or 3 or 4 times as many buyers who want your house than want the other houses, okay? So it's our little unfair advantage, but it's not mind control or manipulation, all right? So don't worry about that. If you go to Starbucks and you want to buy a cup of coffee, walking in the door that it's going to cost you about $4 for a cup of coffee. At Dunkin' Donuts, it's going to be between $1 and $2, okay? And our minds just sort of know that, and they don't really compare the one to the other, all right? But when you go to Starbucks and you order their biggest size coffee, you can't order a large coffee. They don't have large coffee on the menu. They have a grande coffee on the menu. And if you don't want a grande, you could always get a venti. But at Dunkin' Donuts, they have large, medium. I don't think they even have small anymore. And that coffee costs about half as much. Starbucks actually sells these $4 cups of coffee compared to Dunkin' Donuts $1 or $2 cups of coffee at over 15,000 stores. Dunkin' Donuts can sell their $1 to $2 coffee at about 6,400 stores. All right? Which means Starbucks has 2.5 times as many exact copies of competition. I mean, seriously, at the mall by my house, they have 5 different Starbucks. One in the parking lot, one that you can get to from the outside of the mall, and 3 walking around inside the mall. All right? That's 5 Starbucks within a half mile of each other. They don't have 5 Dunkin' Donuts, so there's even more competition for the Starbucks $4 coffee. And when they take that exact same coffee and they put it in a plain cup, and they have people do a taste test, blind taste test, where they don't know who makes the coffee, okay? The brand is not obvious on a plain cup. Starbucks actually loses the blind tasting to the flavor profile superior Dunkin' Donuts coffee. So how is it that Starbucks can get $4 with more competition and a less desirable product than Dunkin' Donuts can get only $1 to $2 with 40% as much competition and better coffee? Well, the reason they do this, even though they sell less tasty coffee according to their own customers, is a little technique that we call anchoring. And we need to, in order to use anchoring, we need to make these customers compare apples and oranges. Remember, at Starbucks, you can't get a large coffee. You can get a grande coffee. I'm sorry, you can't get a grande coffee. You can get a grande Italian roast. But they don't have such a thing as coffee at Starbucks. They have 32 different brands of coffee. All have European names, okay? Or European sounding names that aren't even really European. They're made up words for Starbucks. You can't compare one to the other. You can get a grande double latte, okay, with a shot of espresso, but you can't get a cup of joe. So if Starbucks came out and sold a large cup of coffee and tried to compete with Dunkin' Donuts' large cup of coffee, they're going to be in a price war. But Starbucks was smart, and they created a product that you can't directly compare to their competitors. Now, how does that work for us? Well, when we want to use this Jedi mind trick that I call anchoring, there's 2 parts to the process for us as investors. Number 1, we have to make sure that the buyers can't directly compare our houses to the others that are for sale. So even if every unit is identical, say in a housing development or a condo building or a townhomes, and they all are the same bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage, we have to be able to make sure that they can't look at ours and look at another one and directly compare them. Remember, we want to make sure they're comparing apples to oranges. So once you get this, once you understand it, it takes about 15 minutes to actually do it to the house, okay? So I'm not talking about anything complicated. I'm not talking about expensive staging or anything long, I'm not talking about remodels and stuff like that. I'm talking about just a process of making our house more desirable than the neighbor's house, and might cost you $100 if you really go all out. And the second thing is, once you get them comparing apples to oranges, then you can sort of ethically push them to re-anchor their likes and dislikes, to re-anchor their mindset and price range on our price, our presentation, and our selling method. That's 3 things: price, presentation, and selling method, okay? And we want them to decide for themselves that they want to work with us, that they want to buy at our price, that they want the house presented the way we present it, and they want to buy it the way we want to sell it, okay? Hi, Jason Laux again. And if you like this video, you're going to love the rest of the series. For the other 9 videos, a free live teleseminar training that we do on a regular basis, and a free training on CD, just visit my website, www.7dayprofitmachine.com. I'll see you there.